Good evening and welcome back. This is the 7th episode of our subjective retrospective of the 2024 MLC Freebies. This is July. It was the Summer of Darkness month, so it was Ozzy. Ozzy showed up, and man, they really dropped some good cards on us. We had Ozzy, we had Julius Creed, we had Powerhouse Cody, Tiffy Stratton, Striker Naomi. I mean, just some fantastic cards. And then we had Brutus Creed. Full disclosure, I was not really looking forward to this one because I never sank a lot of time into him, but I couldn't find anything that really flowed. It was another sub and do stuff, in my opinion. And there are other cards that can do sub and do stuff better than Brutus Creed. Certainly there are better modern era powerhouses. One was released the same month as Brutus Creed. So, this was, in my opinion, at first glance, the weakest of the MLC freebies up until this month. And may still actually be the weakest of the MLC freebies. We'll get into him just a little bit. Chaotic Powerhouse Modern Era. His trainer ability is kind of all over the place. If you max him out, 60% blue gem damage is good. Generate trap gems. You get 3 more of them. That's good. And then green moves start with 2 more move points. Just kind of also good. So green moves that generate traps, this helps, or green moves that make a lot of blue, this helps. I guess if you don't need an MP trainer, but you're generating a lot of traps and blue gems, it helps. Obviously, it was made for Julius, but this isn't Julius's best moveset. So, I'm not sure how many people are using him on Julius, actually. It's cool. It does a bunch of stuff, but man, it's kind of all over the place. Moveset wise, there's a bunch of different ideas. He does have a stun. You can figure out a way to make a stun loop. He's got a sub. You can figure out a way to, sub and do stuff. He makes a bunch of column gems. But I don't think the column breaks will actually trigger, the column gems will actually trigger any of the column plates. So, you can't Devil's Drip yeet this one. I don't think. I don't have plates, can't test it, but I don't think it works. So there's some stuff here that'll work. But I was following my formula, theory crafts, and talking to my faction. Like, hey, this guy seems kind of boring and weird. Is there anything out there that you think might make it less weird? My boy James was like, hey, why don't you try, triple purple and buff bleed? And I don't have King Wood, so I can't really buff bleed. Not the way it should be, at least. So I started looking at it. And if you've ever spent any time with me, you'll know that Powerhouse Legend Roman is one of my favorite cards. And it's my favorite build for him is move damage. I am a sucker for move damage cards. I've done a video on Legend Roman. I've done a video on Tech Cross. That was a move damage setup. The last boss battle. I made a rabbit video that was all about move damage. And I think there's one that I'm forgetting, but I'm kind of a sucker for move damage. Nobody runs padded plates. If you get any move damage reduce on your opponent, it's either the AI or it's somebody's, substat from a medal that they have on, right? Nobody sets their cards up to be anti-move damage. And that's one of the things I like so much about it is there are counters to move damage in the game, but nobody uses it because nobody focuses on move damage, which is kind of why I like it so much. So it's like, wait, what if I use triple purple and just buff the ever-loving snots out of his finisher? What would happen? And then in testing, I wasn't even really thinking of this, but he's a counter to Acros. And it gets kind of wacky. All right, so here's the moveset. Spinning Spinebuster, deal 500,000 damage, choose 7 to make into red. If opponent's class is Acro, deal 1,000,000 damage. Fireman's Carry Slam, throw out 13 CDs that will deal, let's call it 300k damage and gain 2 purple MP when activated at the end of the countdown. If you can get all 13 of these to pop, that is close to 3.2 million damage. Not bad, nothing to sneeze at, especially at 6-star bronze. The finisher is 1.6 million damage, and then deal 900k in bleed for 2 turns and pin the opponent. 7 MP moves, and there's a way to do it where you can get this guy reloaded. So yeah, it's not a terrible moveset. But it does look a little bit weak on its face. The other thing I really like about move damage is the game is designed in such a way where you can boost move damage pretty high relatively easily. Not to bury the lead, but I have 343.5% purple move damage up just from the strap. No medals. All takedown 2s. This is only a 40% move damage strap. If you had 100 or even higher, this thing's going to hit a little bit harder. 200% are there. And then again, kind of playing around with that whole Merrick's thing of substats. Here's 10% purple move damage. I've got 7.8 purple move damage here, and then 6% purple move damage here. So it's 200 plus 120 for the belt and medals. And then I get an extra 23.58% just from substats. Ain't nothing to sneeze at, man. Over here, looking at the entourage, Striker KO, purple moves deal damage, deal 100%. I've got Super Mario over here doing 40% more finisher. You can crank this up to 50. You just got to level them up to, I think, 26k. And then I've got Hall of Fame Trish. Purple moves deal 25% more damage. You can also crank this up to 50 if you have her at 26k. So all of this stuff gets even bigger. All right. This turns into, after the gameplay loop, a whole lot of damage against Acros. And that's kind of the point of Brutus Creed, I think, or at least his one thing that he does really well is he will smoke an Acro pretty fast. This is the strongest or highest HP Acro I can find that I can go against with a powerhouse. We're looking at 31.7 million health. Let's see how many turns it takes to beat him. This is a little bit of a cascadey build, but whatever, it's Brutus Creed. So now that we're live in game and we can see everything stack up, check it out. Countdown move, we're at 2.8 million. All right, and then remember, if all 13 of these goes off, that's 3.2. So that puts us at 6 million flat damage just from this move alone if everything is perfect. Once the countdowns pop, I'm not saying right now. Over here, Spinning Spinebuster, we're at another 2.8 million, and then we're at 5.4 just because we're going up against an Acro. So by dropping this move, we're at 8.2 million on this one. Remember, he started at 31.7. And then really all we need to do is create a 5 swipe. There we go. We get to go again. 15.6 million. I'm going to throw countdowns again. Now we could make another 5 swipe if we wanted to. There's no need. He's at 4.5 million health. Started out at 31.7. We're about to drop 10 million on him from his finisher, plus another million in bleed. I mean, good grief. We're talking, I think it's basically 37 million turn 1 as a 6-star bronze against an Acro. 37 million. That's a lot. That's a lot. And all we need to do is make 1 5 swipe. That's it. You could do even more, I think. That wasn't 37. That was 35. And it doesn't matter. It was significantly more than 31, right? And I'll do it again. If you have more health that you're trying to knock down, you can make that 5 break swipe again. And hit the acro hardcore move again. I think I did it once in testing where I got my man Hurricane Helms down to 2 million before the finisher. And the finisher hits for 11 million. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's kind of nuts. Now, when would you use it? I don't know. Full disclosure, I guess if there is an acro that's really giving you troubles and you need a powerhouse, and I'm not exactly sure when you would use it or why, but it is absolutely something that you could have, and really you don't need to bring him up much past 6-star bronze. Right, because we're doing, like I said, anywhere between 35 and 39 million, depending on how many times you run this. Depending on how many times you run this and cycle the hardcore move, the damage doesn't scale. Everything gets a couple 100,000 larger. And, even though you're boosting it all by percentages, it does theoretically get bigger. This is enough. You put a Eye Judgment plate on him whenever you make, 6 more, I think it's 6 more countdown gems, reduce opponent's MP. Now you're talking about safe 2-turn stuff, right? The opponent will be able to swipe as long as it's not any 1 MP moves. You'll be right there. Wish I had my math a little bit better, but quite frankly, I mean, this just runs itself. You're just doing so much insane damage. 10 million from the finisher that you're going to hit once. A total of 14 million from the hardcore move if you hit it twice. The gem damage you get from swiping the reds. The 5.4 million you get from hitting the countdowns just twice, right? The countdowns popping off for anywhere between 2 and 3.2 million twice, so that turns into 4 to 6.4 million. Like, it's and none of it is generally counterable, right? It's all move damage. You're not going to find any padded metals going up against you, or move defense trainers, or 100% move damage down straps. I know those don't exist, but like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're not going to run into any of this stuff because nobody's going to be using any of that stuff. There may be a world, quite frankly, because this is a feud viable build. It's feud ready turn 1. There's a chance that if I just got to throw somebody in there as a powerhouse, and I know I'm going to see a lot of acros, I might throw him in there. He's a worse version of Bob Orton. I'll throw Bob Orton in every once in a while if I know I'm going to see a lot of powerhouses, right? Why not throw this guy in? People are going to get surprised real quick when they, click on your Brutus Creed with their, I don't know, D'Lo or Jacob Fatu or somebody that, well, Jacob's going to roll him, but you see what I'm saying, Anyway, that's Brutus Creed. He's not good except for this. He is really, really good at knocking out an acro with an absolute quickness. And that's it. If you've learned anything today, if you've been entertained by anything today, or if you just like the sound of my voice, do me a favor, like and subscribe, and share to your faction mates. I'll talk to you next time.